Welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and everything in between. I am your host, Brandis Daniel.
I'm your co-host, Sybil Amuti.
And we have with us, we're so excited.
So super excited to have Miss Claudia Chan joining us today.
Yes. We don't have any drums yet, Claudia. We're working on that.
No drums? All right.
No, we gotta create our own drum roll for now. But Claudia, thank you so much for taking out time today to be with us.
Such a nice break for me in the middle of a crazy week. So thank you for having me.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I know girlfriends all around the world have heard of you and understand you as the founder of the She Summit, which is actually taking place next week, correct?
Yes, next Thursday, Friday, October 19th and 20th in New York City.
Awesome. At the 92nd Street Y. And, we've learned a lot about you, Claudia, as you traveled the world as a speaker and as an advocate for gender equality for women and, as a girlfriend and as a real champion for us in the world. But we also know now the woman who's in the car, who's got the two kids, who's got the conference next week, who has the book that's launching next week, who's an equal partner with her husband, as you mentioned on your website, and who has thousands of women who are waiting to pull from her, right?
Mm. Yes.
Are you breathing?
Yeah. Keep on going. Don't stop.
How do you do it all, Claudia?
I talk about this in the book. This is How We Rise is the title, which releases on Tuesday, a week from today. And, it's really about investing in what matters to you, right? Investing your time. Our time and our energy is our most precious thing. And the quality of life, the quality of experience. And I teach women in the book and just through my conference to really step back and really ask yourself, what is your life about? What is your purpose? What is the meaning of your life for the world? And I mean, well, that's sort of a bigger thing that we'll get into in terms of life and purpose, because I've got a whole definition around that. But in terms of the day to day, it really is sort of stepping back and asking yourself, what matters to you right now? And often women, when we are not strategic about that, we say yes to way too many things. And we spread ourselves too thin, especially at a time where there's so many women's empowerment groups and podcasts and conferences and the work that you and I are in. So women are just told, do more. You can have it all. You can make it all happen. And we're just adding and adding without subtracting. And so I've just been very strategic about my lifestyle and how I spend my days and spend my time to really prioritize and really run it in many ways. I say treat your whole life as the organization you're leading, and high level, and plan in smaller increments. Like what are the priorities and what are the highest level goals for the next 3 months? Okay. And then making sure that I'm focused on those things and also having help, right? So if it's okay, I have a 7-month-old baby right now who doesn't need me as much as my 2-year-old. And so, having an au pair and, where am I supplementing with help and support, and doing that across my business, across my family, across my social life. It's really being very strategic about defining what matters to you in short increments of time and prioritizing and being strategic about it.
Nice. I love that. I think it's important. You said something important. I think that we've learned as women that our yes can be as strong as our no. They both have to, as long as we have the conviction and understanding that they matter, that we can say yes as much as we can say no,
Right.
In the middle of everything, I know you've got so much planning going on. Have you gotten a chance over the weekend to do anything for Claudia?
I am at a schedule right now where I probably work from 9 until 6 intensely. And then because I am in my season right now, like I would say, like there's the busy seasons and there's slower seasons.
Right.
Of life. I'm in a busy season of my life right now.
Right.
My occupation as an entrepreneur happens to be in this conference business. And so as opposed to a job where, a corporate job maybe, or something where you're doing the same kind of work every month throughout the year. So I'm in my busiest season. And so I had to try to work intensely from 9 to 6. And then it's like, okay, then that's family time. dinner, kids, get them to bathing them, giving them the me, mommy time with both of them. With my husband, we do it together. And then on the weekends, and then after everybody's asleep, then I have a few more hours to order groceries and
Right.
and whatever operations for the household. But then things I need to email my husband, and it's okay, more work stuff. And then the weekends, I really try to fully disconnect. And so whether or not it's time with kids, making sure that my husband and I have our time. So in the book, in this chapter, I talk about what's your life org chart, right? Mm-hmm. And so what are all the roles that you play? So, I am a mother, right? I'm a parent. So that is one role. I'm co-parent officer, right? Uh-huh. Then I'm also a wife, and then my relationship with my spouse, and really making sure that is that getting enough attention, right? Mm-hmm. Because I've been, I'm Christian, and through pre-marriage counseling, I was taught, your relationship with your spouse is the most important relationship.
Yes.
You could possibly have, because how good you two are determines how affirmed and how well you can raise your kids and how healthy they are, and then therefore how healthier your individual careers are, right?
So in the middle of planning for a conference and taking care of 2 babies, which, let me tell you, we're giving you a huge round of applause over here, Claudia.
Absolutely.
Taking care of a husband, not taking care of, but just making sure that taking care of the relationship, right? Which you both have to do. And just doing business. How do you find a moment for Claudia?
So I have to be really strategic and proactive about finding that self-care time, because, and again, it's one of the lessons we hear wherever we go, which is self-care comes first, right? Because, we're so programmed as women to take care of everybody else and everything else first and ourselves last. But it really just doesn't make any sense, because in order to go out there and be the best partner and leader and manager and entrepreneur and parent and all these roles that we have to play, our buckets have to be full, right? So if we are depleted and we're not eating well, or we're not exercising, or just not having fun and getting out and doing whatever it is that makes us feel good, that nourishes our bodies and minds. I mean, we're just, and I'm honestly, I'm not the best at this, I would say, but it really is something that I try to be really strategic about. And my way to do it is prayer.
Yes.
I mean, I'm a very spiritual person, and really God is ultimately my source. It's when I can pray and to kick off the day, or if I can take those breaks, it's I reroute. It's basically a meditation, right? Some people meditate. For me, I meditate by praying to God, and and by praying, I end up basically reminding myself of what is important. Uh-huh. And so in that process, it's I'm shifting. Then my mental state's I got to make time for this. I got to make time for that. Yeah. And it's also, I think that's one piece of it. And I think as women, we also have to really invest money and invest resources, and we need to spend the money on the help. My friend Mimi is a coach, she's a life coach, and I've known her and worked with her for years. But when right now, because it's the busy season, and I know that I have so much to get done with family and work, I schedule a once-a-week call with her, and it's not like she teaches me new things, but it's a person who I completely trust, who wants the absolute best for me, and I take that hour and I just verbally talk through and have a brain dump with her about what I'm feeling, if I'm stuck somewhere, if I'm feeling overwhelmed with this, or hey, I'm really being bad about my health right now. I'm not taking my vitamins every day, or I need to get out more. It's just somebody that I can actually have an hour conversation with, and actually to hold me accountable, to hear where am I at, what do I need more of for self-care, or to minimize stress, or whatever it is that I need, with a million things going on in my head or on my plate. I dump it, and then I talk it through with her, and I organize my week, and I make commitments to her. I say, okay, well, I'm going to get to yoga on Thursday night. That's happening. And I'm going to text you every single morning after I've taken my vitamin, right? And sometimes I just need to do that for myself, to force myself, because I know that if I just hold myself accountable, I'm just not I'm gonna cheat, right?
Yeah.
So I think that, and honestly, if I'm spending, let's just say hypothetically, it's $100 or $150 an hour, right? And yeah, that's money. Sure, you can go out to dinner with your husband, or have a meal, or whatever it is, or treat yourself to something. But to me, that's the quality of your life. It's the quality of your productivity. I mean, what are you getting done and moving forward in a day, in a week, in a month, in this year? And you can, whether or not you achieve 4 figures, 5 figures, 10 figures, that's a lot. But, however much money, or whether it's the amount of revenue that you're producing or the quality of life experience that you have, I feel like women have to invest more money into really the things that are going to make them perform and have a better quality of life, to perform better, but also have a better quality of life. So I spend money on coaches, I spend money on extra babysitters and childcare.
Yes.
I spend money on that assistant, because you know what? The more I'm free and I'm really spending my hours and my days doing the highest, just doing the highest quality or highest use of my time, and I'm also enjoying for all the time that I'm not working. When I am working, it's like how do I spend my working times for the highest use of my skill set, and then for my personal time, how do I maximize my joy, right? So that what I'm then producing, I can actually achieve more, and then so you can spend more when you achieve more. So that's some of my logic on how I go about these things.
I love that how you use the terms the highest use of your skill set and maximizing your joy are two things that for you define quality of life. But there's this other piece for you that has come alive, and that's in helping other women come to their ultimate use of their skill set and also their maximized joy. So how did early Claudia, I want to go back to early.
Let's go to the little girl.
Let's go to the little girl, Claudia. Did the little girl, Claudia, know that this extraordinary woman was on the inside?
So, I talk about this in my book, is that we're all, no, hell no. I think that we're all really born, we're born into this life, right, with the parents that we have and the cultural backgrounds and wherever we're from. And in a way, we're born into life clueless, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's the journey of life, which is to experience life and to grow and mature and figure out who you are and why we're here and all of those deep things. But I say in the book that, like when you're young and you sort of come out of your parents' womb screaming like, I, me, you're completely like dependent on somebody else to take care of you, and you're clueless. And so, I think that at a certain point, as you become an adult, and we need to teach young girls and young boys this too, is just really start paying attention to what's important in life, right? And for me, just through the trials and through, my parents' Chinese immigrant family, it was all about make money, Claudia, survival. Because they obviously came here with nothing and ended up opening Chinese restaurants and got us to private school. And so I was sort of brought up with this scarcity mentality, like, we're yellow skinned, we're like, I'm going to have to work 10 times harder than the white people, and nobody's ever going to treat us equally. And I have to make money and to own my independence. I have to own my own business. And my parents sort of taught me because of their situation, right? Like we all have these views of what matters, what's important in life is imprinted on us by our parents, our upbringing, and what's around us. And so at a certain point, I think, it's like learning to acknowledge, okay, this is my belief system right now and what is important. But at a certain point, like, is that really important? Like really deciding, okay, I want to keep these traits and qualities and beliefs, but like these I no longer want to keep, right? And so at a certain point in my life, I realized that I lacked purpose in my life, and that I lacked purpose, and I had material success, but I didn't have that piece, and so I decided to completely shift my life.
Wow.
So I think it's the journey of life where we just need to realize we're living a very reactionary life, and at a certain point we need to get proactive and start defining what actually matters. What are my goals in my life? What's my purpose in life? What do I want my life to mean? What impact do I want to make? And then once we start thinking about ourselves from that perspective, we can start shifting. We can really, really start empowering ourselves.
Yes, and I think a big part of that for you, I see it. I see what you do. You put yourself on the front line for other women, and you do this on a global scale. And I think that mission has really allowed for so many women to get the clarity that we need, and also the courage that we need to make whatever those adjustments are. Like you said, the material wealth is good, but there's something about that spiritual and mental wealth that cannot be taken from you, and that puts you so much further ahead and will change your entire legacy, your family's legacy. What is it that you think is so important for women to know going into She Summit, and with your new book release coming up next week, This Is How We Rise? What is it that you think is so important for women to know about who we are and what we're capable of?
Well, I believe that your birthright and your being here on Earth in this time, however long you live, whether it's 80 years, 70 years, 100 years, your life is and your birthright is meant to be extraordinary. Our potential is meant to be extraordinary, and that everything has happened for you in your life. The parents you come from, where you were born, every trial, every gift, every skill, every talent has happened for you to bring you closer to your holistic purpose while you're here. And what I mean by holistic purpose is there's what is your purpose in the personal realm? Because I think sometimes like, oh, what's your purpose, right? It stresses people out, and they're like, well, I have a million purposes. What do you mean? So I say, like, what is the book teaches you, like, what is your purpose in the personal realm? So that could be your health, your financial well-being, your family, your kids, and blah, blah, blah. But what is it in the social realm? Like, we're all here at the end of the day sharing the resources of this planet. And we're all meant to contribute to something. And so my message in the book is you truly rise and reach your highest potential and realize this extraordinary destiny that you do have when you start shifting from this me over we mindset. It's all about me, and gathering for me and just my success and my family and my money. And you shift over to a me for we mindset. So, okay, I'm living, like, what does my life mean for the world besides making, having these great kids or whatever it is that personally that you're doing, but what impact did you make? And there's thousands of issues in this world, right? There's so many problems. The world is broken right now, and it's always been broken. But even us, like, we have the privileges we have today because of leaders and because people that came before us and created good in society. So really the book teaches people to become a purpose-centric person and to lead with purpose and to lead with I call it's join the new breed of leaders. The way that you truly rise is to lead with something that's bigger than you, right? And everything has happened for you to bring you closer to figuring out where can I create good that needs it. So, for example, if you are empowering women entrepreneurs, because you were a woman entrepreneur and you struggled or something, or you have an organization that is all about ending like discrimination in the workplace because you were discriminated in the workplace, or you were raised by a single mom and you want to really help support single mothers, or is it that you went to Africa and you saw gender-based violence, right? And you want to join and do something related to that. I mean, I think we're all here. Like, we all have either your pain is your positive impact. So what have you struggled through and conquered, because chances are other people are going through that issue. And so, can you be a change agent for that cause? And so I question to people, what is your mission? Like, beyond your personal stuff, right? Like, where do you want to affect change? And once you can start adjusting your life and like aligning your career and your time with that goal in mind, miracles just start coming. Everything that you want. Oh, you want to make more money. Oh, you want this. You want recognition. You want all those things just start coming when we lead with purpose. And that's really how we ultimately rise and reach our highest potential, which is, again, meant to be extraordinary.
So good.
I love it. What's been one of your biggest challenges? Like, can you take us back to a time when you may have questioned what you were doing, or a time that was probably most difficult for you to kind of push through and keep going with your purpose?
So I think I have this analogy because, with She Summit, Summit is a mountain, and I talk about how, like, your life is like a life mountain, right? And we're always going up the mountain, and when you raise your hand and you decide, I'm gonna lead this extraordinary life, right? My life is gonna mean this, and when I leave this earth one day, I've made this impact, right? I've had this number of people in this area, I've empowered X number of blah blah blah. Whatever that is, you're choosing you're choosing to rise, you're choosing this big goal, and so in that choice, the obstacles are just going to be bigger. And so, for me, when it came to like leaving my last company, I had Shecky's was a women's entertainment company to create a women's empowerment company, She Global Media. I took my savings, I put it into this thing. I thought that it would be really quick to monetize. It took several years to really get it off the ground because the environment wasn't ready for it, and I was ahead of my time. Mm-hmm. And of course now, gender equality, women's leadership stuff is everywhere. But at the time, it was just getting like 20, 30 no's to one yes, in terms of getting a contract done. Something makes so much sense to you. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, have a vision for something and they get so excited about it because it makes so much sense to them. But when they're out there trying to get other people to understand it or to buy into it or to invest in it, a lot of people just don't understand. It just takes time.
Right.
And so I think that, especially when you decide to do something visionary and bold, that means it's something that probably hasn't been done before, or it's something really different. So whenever you just anybody decides to do something innovative and to do something new, just know that the path is going to be, expect the challenges, right? So that's one example of challenges. I thought this is my third business. I thought it'd be a lot easier to get off the ground and monetize, but it took several years for it to get into that momentum. Also, my last company, the company that I ran from 25 to 35 years old. It was my identity. I grew up, I was a kid running that business, but also my business partner and I, it became like an $8 million company by the time I was 30. And so,
wow.
But my business partner and I just increasingly did not see eye to eye, and it became like this really toxic business partnership. And I struggled for several years, knowing that I had to leave, but being terrified and not knowing what, because it was my identity, and not knowing what I was going to do after that. And so those are but that's also going through that experience as a woman, having a male partner, and just what I felt like a lot of women, how other women entrepreneurs were struggling, also helped inspire me to create a women's empowerment organization. And so again, everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for you, especially the challenges and the hurdles and the adversity, especially that stuff happens for you to build you as a leader, and to build you to find and see what it is that you're meant to do impact change in. That's what I fundamentally believe. And so we all have this natural reaction when bad stuff happens, or we get stressed out, we get negative, and instead it's can you pause and be like, what is this challenge teaching me? What is this? Why is this challenge why is this struggle arising? And if you're looking for that break, or if you're looking for that client, or this is happening at home, if you're struggling in your marriage, how is this thing? Because I say in the book, obstacles either direct you, protect you, they can mature you, right? So we have to change our relationships with obstacles.
That's
I'm trying
so
to pack
good.
lessons with every personal question I'm trying to
No, that's really good, because I think it's important for us to understand that, yes, we're going to go through. We're all going to go through, and we need to stop running from the idea of going through. Let's be willing to go through, and let's be willing to take the lessons. Let's embrace the fact that that's part of it, knowing that we have something greater on the other side of it. And so, alongside, you decide one day, okay, I'm building She Summit. And alongside that, you've also built a family. You have 2 small children. And now you have a 7-month-old. Your second child is now 7 months old.
Which, by the way, Claudia, I don't remember you being pregnant last year.
Oh, I had a belly on stage. Yeah.
I don't remember.
Do both of you have kids, or do you have kids?
Yes, I have Sam and Dylan. My son is 8. My daughter Dylan is 6.
And Sky will be 2 in 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks. Yeah, so I'm at that toddler stage.
You have 3. You have 3?
No, this is Branda. So I have
this is
1.
Branda's, okay.
Yeah, I have 1, and she's almost 2.
And then got it. Okay.
And so we understand all that. But one thing you said that was so significant on your website, you said that you're equal partners with your husband. And if you don't mind, if we can just plug into what that equality looks like, because I think that's also a significant piece of how you're able to really, fly and soar in the way that you do, and help other women understand that that's possible. Having a 7-month-old, which means you were also authoring a book and completing that book alongside being pregnant and planning this conference and doing everything else that you do.
Yeah.
Can you share? She's like, I mean, that's you. You're doing all that. You know?
I got tired.
I heard that, Claudia. I heard all of that.
Yeah, I think it's this idea, that first question around applying business skills or project management skills to sort of your whole life. And in a way, your partner is like, it's like your president and CEO, right, of the family. A family, your whole life together, to me, is the organization. And within this organization is our marriage, our kids, our careers, our companies, if we're entrepreneurs, right, our parents, right, like everything that is. It's like, this is our whole life together. I think that's the first thing, is when two people, when you're raising a family and raising a life, it's like, how do you really sync with your partner, if that's your context, if you have a partner, and really think, okay, as this, we're building this life and this big entity together. Like, are we aligned in vision? Like, what do we both want? What matters to both of us? What are our goals? And really making sure that we're getting on the same page, and really dividing, okay, well, in this year, I'm writing a book. We're pregnant with number 2. You're launching, my husband, John, he launched a new business. I'm a few years into my new business. And so we have to sort of get together as partners and really define, okay, what is our schedule going to be? What are the roles and responsibilities? And really treat, like, it's a partnership at the end of the day. And in some cases, I have friends where the woman is either an equal breadwinner or even the breadwinner of a household, and yet childcare and home care still falls predominantly more on women, right? And yet, if that was the case the other way around, and the man was bringing in more money, it would just be naturally, by default, the women would be doing more of the childcare, right, and the home care. So to me, it's almost like an invisible, it's one of those internal barriers, or an invisible barrier that nobody talks about. Like, for us to get to gender equality, women and men, or partners at home, really, like, this is not talked about. We need to be really proactive about teaching couples, like, to have that time. And if you need counseling and you need a third party, I mean, if you think about getting pregnant, right, there's doulas, or there's like OBs and fertility coaches, and I mean, we need more marriage. We need to, we need counseling. We need to make sure that if two partners need to get on the same page, and if you can't get on the same page and you're arguing a lot, because all those, you're going to clash. If you don't get on the same page, you're going to clash a lot. And I think, that's what I see happening with a lot of couples. And I mean, and John and I have gone through it, and we've learned how to navigate through it. But that's what I'm realizing as 2 years in, as a mother, that this is a really important conversation that needs to happen in society. Is we need to start looking at it, just the way that parental policies, like maternal policies, are like a social issue. Like, so is like marriage counseling.
Right. I agree. I think we'd see more retention in marriage if people were willing to have the conversation. Like, whose expectation is it that we're following here, and what are our personal guidelines for our marriage? Because Brandis and I both have husbands who are equal partners, and when we hear other women say that, we scream to the hills, because it is possible. And I think women, are still trying to understand how do you do that? And a big part of it is empowering your husband to be equal in a lot of things that are not traditional.
Claudia, let me tell you a funny story. So in the early days of recording the Great Girlfriends podcast, Sybil would spend the night at my home because we didn't know when we would be able to record, and my daughter came 6 weeks early. And so during that time, there was one time when Sky started to cry. My husband was upstairs with her, and I was getting ready to get up to go get Sky. And Sybil literally pulled me back on the couch and said, if you want this to be equal, if you ever want time to yourself, you have to let him handle it.
I love it. Well, and that's the thing, is that, like, sometimes women, we end up, because we want things done our way, right? I mean, if the dishes are not going to get washed, the way that we want them to, or, that, like, the pillows are going to get fluffed this way. I mean, I think that we also become our own worst enemies, right? We've got to let go of control. But the thing is, it's hard because, I mean, if you think about getting pregnant, right? I mean, that whole process, and then being pregnant, like birth, conceiving, carrying, birthing, breastfeeding, raising. I mean, really, it's on the woman first. And we've got to be project managing everything. So we're wired to be controlling and to want things our way in order to get it all done. And then all of a sudden, but we can't continue to, we got to let go. No. So these are all the things that we need to be really present to and cognizant of. And it's not even just, okay, hey, you're my equal partner. Like, you really got to sit down with your partner and have some deep conversations about, aligning. Like, if you were going to start a business with somebody, you wouldn't just have like a 5-minute conversation and be done with it, right? Like, you get to know each other, you hear each other, and really figure out, okay, what are you going to do? What I'm going to do? What do we want? And then it's synergizing. It's like the synergizing of the sexes. I see that in the book. And it's a constant. You got to check in. It's just like just like you have a business partnership, you having weekly meetings, a weekly touch base, right? Like every year you have a strategic, okay, like, are we going where we want to go? I love this, start, stop, and continue. One of my financial advisors recommended, to have a start, stop, and continue meeting, or start, stop, and stay. Like, what do we want to do more of that we're not? What do we want to stop doing that's just not working, that's not serving us? And what do we want to continue that is working for us, right? Like, we need to carve out more time with our partners to make sure that we're in sync, because women are just going to continue to take on more in this movement. Like, we are in the fourth wave of feminism. Women are going to continue to rise. We're going to just take on more without knowing how to subtract. And so it's just something we have to be really aware of. And the book and the conference teaches you all of that.
Yeah.
I love it.
I had such a great time at She Summit. I'm trying to remember. I was there when she's at a financial institution. She's one of the few African-American women. Why can't I think of her name right now?
Well, Lisa Nichols spoke last year, who was phenomenal.
Lisa Nichols, she was amazing. There was maybe it was year before last. There was another woman who was there. She worked for I don't want to say the wrong financial institution because I don't want to get in trouble. But Carla. Was it Carla Harris? Carla Harris.
Oh, yeah, she's the bomb.
Carla Harris. Oh, my gosh. She shut it down.
I know.
And
I mean, there's a person who, she's really senior at Morgan Stanley, but she's also an opera singer, and she's written books. I mean, it's just, just another idea of, the new female leader, right? Like, we can show up as our whole selves and really thrive.
Right.
She's truly somebody that's on her path, right? On her purposeful path.
Yeah, but it was incredible. The entire summit was just really amazing. I'm so excited for our girlfriends to hear about it and to know about it. And it's going to be October the 16th, right?
19th and 20th.
19th and 20th. Okay, 19th and 20th. My apologies.
And then the book releases October 17th.
Right.
Correct.
So Tuesday. You can actually order the book now on Amazon. I was actually written up in the New York Times book review.
We saw that. Yay.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I did not expect it at all. And I was like, OMG.
That's amazing.
So awesome.
I freaked out. But so you can order it now. It's called This Is How We Rise, Reach Your Highest Potential, Empower Women, Lead Change in the World. And again, it's really your practical guide to how to live, how to realize your extraordinary birthright success, what you're meant to be and do on this earth. Gives you the practical plan on how to do it and thrive, but thrive practically, right? In your everyday life, in your marriage, in your career. And I also share 13 leadership habits that you need to strengthen in order to rise to your highest. And then how we rise is the theme of the conference. So it'll be a 2-day. So go to shesummit.com and you'll learn more about everything. That's just where, you can go for all the information.
We've got one final question for you. We're in the series Against All Odds. And so this is what we love about your story, the story of an immigrant family who's come to America. And, you also talked about your story of entrepreneurship and having to say goodbye of what was an identity for you and evolve into the other part of your story. And now, a lot of women are saying, I can't because I have 2 small kids. I can't start a conference. There's so many. I can't do all these things. But against those odds, Claudia, you've managed to bring out the best side of Claudia, I think, and give the world an opportunity, other women an opportunity to do the same for themselves. What's like one lesson that you feel that you've brought forward against all odds? What do you know for sure?
I just lead with service. I think that lead with service. And I think that's still just the one thing that when I get caught up in everything and things start feeling crazy, I just sort of like, again, I connect back with spirit. So for you, if you're not religious or, it could be the universe, nature, whatever that source is for you, connect to it and lead with service. Like, I'm here. I gotta stop thinking about me, and how can I do good, right, for those around me. And if I feel like if we lead with that, miracles just start coming and things will fall into place. I know that sounds sort of abstract, but it really does work.
No, it does. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I say stop living your life in the world, lead your life for the world, and by doing that,
that's a tweetable moment.
I say, like, stop thinking about your life from this inside out perspective. Like, I'm Claudia, I'm analyzing my life, I'm analyzing my surroundings, I'm analyzing my company, and, instead, like, pretend I'm the universe or God and looking at, there's Claudia Chan out of 7.3 billion people, like, what's her, like, I'm sort of looking at my life and why am I here, and starting to get out of to have a bigger perspective and tap into a higher calling of your destiny. So read the book.
Yes, we're going to read the book.
$25 you'll spend.
I love it. And go to the conference. If there's still tickets available, definitely you want to check out Claudia's book, This Is How We Rise. And you also want to make sure that you're in the building for She Summit 17. And I think on the website is shesummit.com. And Claudia's website is claudiachan.com.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yes. So, Claudia, really quickly, we always close by thanking our husbands, our equal partners. And I want to thank Kwaku, who is definitely holding it down out in Jersey for me while I record today.
And I want to thank Mr. Rich Daniel for being just a huge supporter.
And I'll thank John Wagner.
Hey, John Wagner. And then we'd love to shout out our little ones who are also partners in this mission. So thank you, Sam and Dylan.
And thank you to Miss Sky.
And Jackson and Aria and Connor, our dog.
Oh, how cute. I love it. And to all our great girlfriends, thank you for trusting us as your go-to source for everything life, love, and laughter. Make sure you listen every single Wednesday on iTunes, Stitcher, Podcast Bean, Podcast Republic, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and pretty much every other podcasting service.
Absolutely. And please check us out on our social. Connect, talk with us. We want to interact with you on our Instagram,
The Great Girlfriends,
on Twitter,
_Great GFS,
on Facebook,
The Great Girlfriends.
And then if you really want to deep dive into who we are and to meet other amazing women, go to our Facebook group where you can connect with over 16,000 women.
And that's The Great Girlfriends as well. Make sure you post your questions online. You post your iTunes review. You share with your friends. Keep listening and keep being a great girlfriend. I'm Sybil.
I'm Brandis.
Thank you, everyone. Yes.
We're out. Peace.
Thank you.
Lots of love.